Hi, I'm Jim Shadler. Thanks for joining us today on Essential Christianity. I have a special guest. I'm really excited to have my son-in-law, Jason Chatham. Jason and my daughter Candace are planting a new church in Salt Lake City this year. As I've mentioned before, we're going to be really tracking with that church plant and keeping you apprised of the progress. So Jason, thanks for joining me today. Some of you know that back in 1985, 34 years ago, I went to Salt Lake City with my family and planted a church in downtown Salt Lake, and we were there 15 years. So for Candace and Jason to be going back, it is so very exciting for me, and I hope to be involved in every way that I can.
Yeah, we're excited to have you a part of it, and it's really cool what God's doing with Courageous Church.
Well, tell us a little bit about Courageous Church. We just want to have a little dialogue today, Jason. Tell us what's happening, and I love the name Courageous Church. Where did that come from, and what's going on with it?
Well, for the longest time, Candace and I, your daughter and I, have had a passion in our heart to reach people with the hope and gospel of Jesus. And a couple of years ago, back in 2017, we had the opportunity to connect and really begin to pray about this idea of planting a life-giving church and what that could look like.
Wow.
And in that process, we really began to feel like our hearts were being drawn toward Salt Lake City. And as you know, you guys spent many years here, and we felt like the Lord was really leading us to come back and really pick up the baton and run with it, but also to be a new, fresh voice here in the Valley.
Well, that's exciting. Well, now it's interesting because you've served on staffs in Orange County. I think you've been in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. You've served on a staff of a church in Frisco, Texas. I mean, you've been around, and now coming to Salt Lake and to plant a church. So let's start. Why church planting?
Yeah, well, it's been proven, and there's been a lot of studies done on how actually people come to know Jesus and how they come to faith. And it's actually been demonstratively proven that more people come to faith through the planting of a new local church. New local churches are really effective at reaching new generations, at reaching new residents, and reaching new people groups. And there's a lot of growth happening here within the Valley, here in Salt Lake City, and we felt like starting a brand new local church would allow us to do all three of those things.
Wow, that's exciting. You know, when we look at the book of Acts, and of course we're about essentials and essential Christianity, when we understand that the Bible is our authority, who God is, what Jesus did for us, and how we can be saved, and then we're part of a healthy, vibrant fellowship of believers, I think the same thing happens to us that happened in the book of Acts. They go everywhere preaching the word, and people get saved and changed, and it's really exciting. So church planting is really a key to that, isn't it?
It is. You know, we believe the local church is the hope for the world. You know, Jesus said in the scriptures that he would build his church and that the gates of hell would not prevail against it. So we feel like it's the primary thing that God is building on the earth. And it's about people, you know, people that are broken and that need a Savior, coming together in community, in fellowship, to seek Jesus, to seek what God is wanting to do in and through that entity.
Well, that's exciting. You know, I've worked in citywide crusades through the years, a number of times with the Billy Graham organization, worked with Nikki Cruz in different cities where we've come together, but as churches, to partner with these evangelistic outreach organizations, and they would be the first to tell us, you know, that they're sort of the cutting edge of evangelism, but they can't do it effectively without the local church. There has to be a place where the individuals that make a commitment to walk with Jesus Christ can be discipled, they can be equipped, and then ultimately can serve. And so it's really exciting to be a part of this process that really fulfills, I think, what Jesus intended in the building of his church.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's a big part of it is partnering with our community to serve our city well, to reach people that need the hope that we have, the hope that we are trying to defend and give reasons for.
Wow, that's exciting. It sounds like, you know, something I'm interested in for sure. Now, why Salt Lake City? Of course, I had my own reasons years and years ago, and still have a passion for Salt Lake. I love the people. It's a diverse community. Obviously, there are a lot of LDS people there, and we set out to share our faith with Mormons back in the 80s and the 90s. Why Salt Lake City for you and Candace?
Yeah, well, Salt Lake City is actually one of the least churched cities in America. It's also, according to Barna's research, one of the least Bible-minded, meaning that people have an overall idea about God, but no relationship with Jesus. And we feel like because of those statistics, in addition to some other things that are quite harrowing actually, we feel like it's an actual great opportunity to reach people that are far from God and people that need a relationship with Jesus.
That's powerful. I remember Paul the Apostle saying that there'll be those that have a form of godliness, but they deny the power.
Absolutely.
And so, and we see that in religion.
Yeah.
In fact, I've recently released content on our YouTube channel talking about my background coming out of a religious experience and then ultimately finding relationship with Jesus Christ, where Jesus was actually outside. He's outside the walls of the church knocking and saying, will you let me back in? That was to the church of Laodicea in Revelation chapter 3. But we know he also knocks on the door of our heart as individuals.
Absolutely.
And so really exciting to hear, and of course we've been talking for months and years about this, so to really know your heartbeat, to go in. So tell me what it looks like. Church planting, I think, is probably a little bit different today. Here it is, 2019 versus 1985. I feel like I sort of fell asleep and now I'm awakening again, and a lot of things have changed. Back then we didn't have the technology. We didn't have, I think I used a Sanyo computer, and it was like the first or second year that they even made them available in a PC type model. And I typed up my sermon notes, but there was no internet.
Sure.
It didn't exist.
Right.
I don't believe I had a cell phone. If I did, it was a flip phone. They just, or it might have been a little suitcase, with the cord attached. It's a different day. So,
absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about what this is going to look like and how you strategize for church planting today.
Yeah. So there have been a lot of technological advancements. Certainly, people have access to information at exponential rates. They're able to get online and connect with people all over the world. So that definitely has changed how we view church planting, in the sense that, I always tell people we're a local church, meaning that we care about the local community, but we have a regional vision, meaning we want to see our impact go beyond our walls, go beyond our reach. And so for us, planting a church today looks like gathering people that have the same heart, the same heartbeat for hard places. Salt Lake's a tough place to do church and ministry and life. And one of the things that we felt impressed about was that we needed to gather other people that had a heart for hard places. And obviously, because Salt Lake City is a difficult place, because it is very unchurched, very unreached, there's tremendous problems with addiction and all kinds of things that stand in the way of what that life should look like. We feel like a lot of our focus has been to disciple people from the ground up, gather as many people as we can that have a heart for what it is that we're trying to do. And then, of course, from there, setting out some goals to connect with the community, to serve our city, to establish what I like to call a redemptive presence in the city. So people begin to associate our name with how we serve before they actually step foot in our services.
Well, that's great, Jason. Well, it's really exciting at Essential Christianity to be able to partner with you. As I've told you, I want to bring reports of the progress of the church plant on a regular basis and put them up on YouTube and let people know what's going on through social media. I know you'll be doing that too.
Sure.
But if you're interested in hearing what happens in the coming months and coming years, I encourage you to subscribe to our Essential Christianity YouTube channel, and particularly press the bell. Click on that bell and you'll get updates anytime I release new content, which will include regular updates. I plan on being very involved in serving Jason and his team here in any way that I can. Of course, I don't live in Salt Lake, but plan on making a few trips up, many excursions to try to help and just be supportive. I believe in church planting, and I believe in church planting in Salt Lake. What a great place. So any final thoughts you'd like to share today, Jason?
Some of our greatest moments have been reaching people with the gospel, seeing people's lives change and transform. And that's really what Courageous Church is about. It's seeing people find life, seeing people find freedom, seeing people find hope, seeing people change from what they were into something that God has always intended for them to be. And that, for me, is something that we feel like we could give our lives to, that we could commit to. So we're excited to be a part of that. We're excited to be doing that here in the Salt Lake Valley. And we're excited to have you with us, Jim. So thanks.
Well, thanks, Jason. Well, I know we're committed to essential Christianity, really driving home the faith once for all delivered to the saints. how better to live that out than through church planting? And so we're with you, and we're excited to see what God does in the coming months, and we'll be sharing it with you. So once again, please subscribe and press that bell so that we can let you know when there's a new report of progress in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me today, Jason.